Hey, hey, hey. What's up, fam? Tawana's in the building. Reverend T, host and curator of this weekly broadcast, Tuesdays with Tawana. Come on in, join me as we build community one episode at a time. I love this moment. I love when Tuesdays come around. Tuesdays are life giving to me. Tuesdays are healing for me. Tuesdays are an opportunity for us to just chop it up and do what we do. How about that? Um, Let me pull up make sure I pull up the comments so I can see who is coming in and what is going on. And those of you who are just joining us, shout me out in the chat and we'll chop it up. You can sit and listen and just soak in some of this healing. If you're at work, put your headphones on and try to connect in this moment. We have a lot to talk about in 28 minutes. So we are going to get started. I don't know why oh, there they go. There are my comments. What's up, Lindsay? So good to see you. I honor your presence on today. The other day we had a healing Instagram live, and my beloved Omi was calling out all the names of those who have been murdered by law enforcement. And the list was very extensive. And she called back as far as Amadou Diallo and Sean Bell and, oh gosh, this woman's name, and I want to honor her. It just escaped my mind. But I was so grateful that across the country that um, names were mentioned, including the most recent Breonna Taylor, and also our beloved um, our beloved. Sorry, so I'm in a new place. Well, not new place, but I'm in a different place, and so setting up was a little challenging. Not challenging. No, it's different. It's just different. How about that? So I am trying to multitask and do what I do the best way that I can do it. And yeah, don't want to do that. So yeah, we're trying to work it out. I'm gonna get y'all off of my screen. How about that in 1 minute? Um, I am so trying to make it happen today. I don't know what's going on, but in any event, I'm here. I'm grateful. So honored to be here. Mother Carolyn's in the building. My sister Tanisha. What's going on, beautiful? My big brother Larry is in the building. Oh, let me update the audio in case. Okay, here we go. Make sure, let me know if y'all can't hear me. Um, yeah, let me know. I'm sure you would have let me know if you couldn't hear me, but the hearts are going, so thank you so much. My big brother is on the line. He just celebrated a birthday, so y'all help me wish my big brother Larry happy birthday, happy belated birthday. If you did not see his post and are not friends with him on Facebook, he wrote an amazing post, and put a picture of him as a child and him as the wonderful, divine, handsome adult that he is. And it was just such a beautiful post about life and giving God thanks for life and another opportunity to take this another time around the sun. So we are so grateful to you, Larry, and for always showing up. Tell Kaden I said hello. The other day, Tanisha and I were on the phone, And he was like, "Hi, Auntie Juana." And then a little tear fell from my eye because I miss him so much and he just loves me. He loves me. And when you're loved, it just feels so good and so wonderful. Yeah, keep the birthday wishes coming. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Mother Carolyn. Oh, hey, what's up, Anthony? Good to see you. Thank you. Look good, feel good. I'm feeling good, feeling much better. I was a bit under the weather for a couple of weeks, vertigo-ish. So I am getting better, and I am so grateful that I am getting better. So, hey, sister, Tina is in the building. Another one, my sister. I have a lot of siblings out in the world, but these are my true blood brothers and sisters that are popping on, and I'm so grateful. Tina sent me a beautiful text, and I was driving, and once again, a little tear just came dripping down my face because she reminded me that in 2017, April 26th, 25th, maybe even today, I don't know, but she remembered, I didn't remember, that I had my first successful surgery after treatment when I lost all my hair and my weight and couldn't even eat with a metal utensil, and the surgery was deemed in that moment successful. And what a beautiful memory, because I'm still here. I'm surviving and thriving along with community, because healing happens in community. So I am so grateful, so grateful. This is my buddy right here. You just made my day. Thank you for hopping on. I appreciate it. So let's chop it up a bit. I do want to name and honor Dr. Shaniqua Walker Barnes, who has been getting some pushback over a prayer that she contributed to a larger collection in a bestseller here in the US and in other countries worldwide. And if I may, if we all may take a deep breath, and if I can just read the opening of that, and I encourage you to find it, read it, support her, pray for her and with her. I want to thank Reverend Dr. Melva Sampson, womaness extraordinaire, just a beautiful sister, beautiful woman who is leading us in this work called womanism. And she mentioned this prayer during her live broadcast on Sunday, and I immediately went to it. I have some great people that are on my timeline, or that I watch live. I don't watch everything. I don't watch everybody. I have to be very mindful of what is put into my mind, and what my eyes see, and what my heart feels, and what my gut digests. So Melva is one of those that I do try my very best to get up very early on a Sunday morning um, to honor her. So um, she mentioned Reverend Dr. Shaniqua Barnes, and I just want to read the opening to show you how deep this is. And yes, Lindsay, I'm gonna get you'll hear why she's getting pushback right now. Dear God, help me to hate white people, or at least to want to hate them. At least I want to stop caring about them individually and collectively. I want to stop caring about their misguided racist souls, to stop believing that they can be better, that they can stop being racist. I am not talking about the white anti-racist allies who have taken up this struggle against racism with their whole lives. The ones who stand vigil for weeks outside jails where Black women are killed, who show up in Charlottesville and Ferguson and Baltimore and Pasadena and to take a public stand against racism and police brutality, who are committed to fighting white supremacy, that their own lives bear the wounds of its scars. No, those aren't the people that I want to hate. I am not even talking about the ardent racists either, the strident segregationists who mow down nonviolent anti-racist protesters, who open fire on black churchgoers or plot acts of racial terrorism hoping to start a race war. Those people are already in hell. There's no need to waste hatred on them. Perhaps, however, you could make sure that they don't take the rest of us with them with their attempts of harming others that are thwarted, and that they don't gain access to positions of power. My prayer is that you would help me to hate the other white people, excuse me. My prayer is that you would help me to hate the other white people, the nice ones, the Fox News loving, Trump supporting support voters who don't see color, but who make thinly veiled racist comments about those people, the people who are happy to have me over for dinner, but alert the neighborhood to watch anytime for an unrecognized person of color that passes their house. The people who welcome Black people in their churches and their small groups, but brand us as heretics if we suggest that Christianity is concerned with the poor and the oppressed. The people who politely tell us that we can leave when we call out racial microaggressions we experience in their ministries. My God, today, can we take a deep breath and just take that in just for a moment? Yeah, sister, wow. Wow. Truth telling, truth telling. For I am a divine Black woman who ascribes to the tenets of womanism that then ascribes to lifting as we climb, so that we all can be free and liberated, so that the work can begin. Dr. Elaine Gale says liberation, and then we can move into some action. We can't move into some action if we are not liberated, because then we are further perpetuating what we already know, which is detrimental and downright heinous to Black women. Can I speak first person, my experience? It's detrimental to me and to my children. I am not a minority. I am not minor to anyone. I am major, bringing major keys in this. I'm not a minority, so you won't hear me use the word minority, because when we begin comparing minor and major, that's when we get into, racism and sexism and xenophobia, and the list goes on and on and on. We then deem the other as they are the mistake. So we then have them sit in jail for a $30 bond that they can't pay for 3, 4, 5 years, and then end up killing themselves because they can't take it. Their mental dis-ease was not addressed. I am not the minority, because truth be told, when we talk about numbers and numerics, we are the majority when we think of ourselves collectively. But unfortunately, we can't think of ourselves collectively when we are thinking of ourselves as separate, when we have our own people of color um, uh, 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 hating us because of the color of our skin. As a matter of fact, we have our own people in the Black diaspora who are hating others because of the color or the hue or the melanin, the amount of melanin in their skin. So we are up against so much in this nation. And yet, when we read a prayer by Shaniqua Walker Barnes, by the Honorable Shaniqua Walker Barnes, the brilliant Shaniqua Walker Barnes. We hear these words because for over 400 years, when we were brought to this country, it has been nothing but dehumanization and and demeaning and lack of dignity and honor and respect for me and my ancestors and my beloveds and my siblings as human beings. As a matter of fact, this right here, this darker hued woman experienced so much racism growing up. And unfortunately, it was from my own people who may have been closer to a whiter hue, right? Real talk. Real talk. Colorism is real. Racism is real. Anti-Black racism is real. So here we are on Tuesdays with Tawana, building community one podcast, one broadcast at a time. And how do we then bring all of this together? So I intentionally wore my Wonder Woman shirt today because I'm not your superwoman. I am not the superwoman that you ascribe me to be because I'm a student of Audre Lorde, posthumously, sitting, imagining myself sitting at her feet, setting myself in the future, because seeing myself in the future, because if I don't define myself for myself, then I am defined by other people and crunched into other people's fantasies and eaten alive, right? So I wore my Wonder Woman shirt today because we are a wonder. People are constantly wondering, how did we make it? How do we do it? How did we make it through? How are we not succumbing or giving into or feeling the true effects of attempted genocide day in and day out? How do we make this work? How are we still surviving as the Black diaspora? How are we still making things happen? And please note, beloved, that it's not happening for everybody, because there is just this line, this intentional racist, sexist, socioeconomic line that is drawn to try to keep people in a space where they feel powerless and they feel worthless and they don't feel worthy. They don't feel like they have a sense of dignity. They don't even feel like human beings at times, because of gentrification, because of food deserts, because of lack of support when it comes to being of a owning class. Those who are incarcerated or driving down the road and you see a police car and you're like, okay, should I have my hands on 10 and 2? Should I do the speed? Should I slow down? No, I shouldn't slow down. I should keep going, because then if I slow down, it shows that I'm doing something wrong and it gives them probable cause, and then they'll put all this shit we got to think about and go through just to live. And now it's time to not only live, but it's time to survive and thrive. So when Dr. Barnes talks about this prayer, our prayers are supposed to be very, or could be, not supposed to be, they could be, should be, it would behoove us that they be very transparent, right? So we open up our hearts so that when I was listening to Dr. Knoll's podcast earlier this morning with Adam Schiff from California. I think he's a representative in California. And he said something about we are not broken. He said, we are not broken. We are unfinished. And we've talked about that quite often, where we talk about us being unfinished because we're living in an America that we have never experienced. The America that was dreamt about and was written about in all of our constitutions and bylaws and all those other things. Those were what racist minds and thoughts and behaviors thought about our future. And it did not include us as the Black diaspora. It did not include our beautiful, beloved First Nation indigenous folk who are called savages in our national documents. So we are talking about living in an America that doesn't even love us, even when we love it, even when we do our best to love it. Even when we coexist, doesn't love us. It doesn't love us when we have Keith Ellison, and I feel you, Keith, the Honorable Keith Ellison, who said that he felt some kind of way for Derek Chauvin because he's a human being. Well, so was George Floyd. So when we start centering white people and their heinous acts, that's not helpful to us. The judicial system wasn't designed for us to begin with. So when you use the judicial system as a former AG to justify having some compassion for someone who, with a smirk on his face, looked up at the people for 9 minutes and 29 seconds as if he knew what he was doing, it's hard to prove motive. But when you look up at a crowd and be like, yeah, y'all do something, fuck with me. Yeah, my knee is in his neck, and what? If that doesn't sound like motive to me, if that doesn't sound like motive, then I don't know. Maybe I have a misunderstanding of motive. Maybe I need to call my sister who's working to be a lawyer. Maybe I need to reach out to some folk because for someone who is well respected like Keith Ellison. I was just very disheartened by his comments that the focus then shifted on compassion for Derek Chauvin as a human being versus the lives that were taken, even in that small time frame of George Floyd, Micaiah, who else? Somebody else was Dante, and the list goes on, right? In that small period of time, when you start showing compassion prematurely, when there is no repentance or remorse or wanting to fix the challenge. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to use the word fix because Jason Schenkel, who's I believe he's a therapist. Forgive me if I'm wrong, Jason. He lives in Colorado, and he uses the hashtag healing over fixing. So there's some healing that needs to be done. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done. And part of that healing is for us of the Black diaspora when we are constantly further traumatized by what has happened to George Floyd and countless others. What has happened, the injustice with Breonna Taylor, the injustice with our beloved in Colorado. Lindsay, if you are still on, my mind, please forgive me, just drew a blank. Our young brother who was killed, the word ketamine keeps coming to my mind, and that just, it's just something that's just welling up in my system that's just very frustrating and very emotional. But we need to get him justice. And there's a lot of people who never made it to a hashtag. There's a lot of people where police officers were never charged and they'll never see a courtroom, and their families will never receive justice, not in the legal system or in the civil courts, not neither one. They won't receive it. Not that money brings our people back, but they would never receive it. They'll never receive the names or being able to come together as community to honor their deceased loved one. Anthony says she did it in third person. You need to have a mind to process information. Absolutely. Good afternoon, Miss Odessa. Happy belated birthday to you. Uh, Tina says, taught to love the ones who hate you. Yeah. My God, today, all of the isms are real and destructive, up against too much in today's society, Lindsay says. Anthony says, exterminate the brutes. Great documentary on HBO. I did hear about that. It tells a story, not the fairy tale of social studies class. I will definitely check it out now that it has been duly recommended. I will check it out for sure. So with that, There's a lot going on, and this space, we create this space, we co-create this space. Like, I often don't just bring my own academic prowess, or I try to keep my pulse on what's going on in the community. But just because I don't see it happening doesn't mean that it's not happening, right? I'm not in that area, or I'm not connected with that circle. So I don't make blanket statement. Do my very best not to make blanket statements. And when I do make blanket statements, there are always exceptions to that. So what I bring to this moment is an opportunity to plant some seeds. Like, I don't use the word minority, or I don't, you know, I do my very best to use inclusive language. I try not to harm anyone through my words, because that lie that we were told when we grew up, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That they hurt, they hurt a lot. And if we don't deal with them and heal them and address them and name them, they end up hurting so much so that it festers, and it takes a long time, a longer time than it would if we had addressed it, or knew, even had the wherewithal to address it from the beginning. So, before we close, I do want to, um, I want to, I want to read this quote that I saw on Instagram that my beloved Utsi sent to me, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and it's about Black rest, because we are in a time, where rest is so important. And in order for us to do the things that we need to do, we must rest, because then we can be the wonder to the world. Like, that wonder of, I don't know how they do it. They collectively, the Black diaspora. Oh, another thing that I do my very best not to do is, like, say the Blacks or the whites, because I'm not an object. I am a human being, and I am of the Black diaspora, using the term Black as a socio-political resistance to what the America has tried to call me. They tried names like nigger, they tried colored, they tried African American, and African American for me is tied into whiteness. So I use the term Black people, Black beloveds, Black diaspora. So just positing. We just have to think about the words that we choose, because those same words are what's building us so that we can see ourselves in the future. Building us now so that we can see ourselves in the future and define ourselves for ourselves. So, with that, on Black Rest, the cycle of harm whiteness creates is meant to exhaust. Because when we are tired, we cannot dream. When we are tired, we cannot play. When we are tired, we cannot love. When we are tired, we cannot create. When we are tired, we cannot collaborate. When we are tired, we cannot heal. When we are tired, we cannot build a world that makes us feel seen, heard, and held. So I am wishing you rest. In the midst of all of this, read Reverend Dr. Shaniqua Walker Barnes' Rest, because it's impossible until it's not. It's kind of like the conglomerate Nike with Just Do It. It's impossible until it's not. So we got to make it happen. We got to try it on. We got to take the first step, even though we don't see the full staircase. We got to step out on faith. We got to step out in community. We got to trust ourselves in order to trust others. We got to love ourselves in order to love others. And if we don't rest, none of that will happen. And we will continue to be killed, mind, body, and spirit, by the hands of these systemic ills that were not designed for us to begin with. So as we rest, let us continue to build schools. As we rest, let us continue to build spiritual and religious institutions that are life giving and life affirming and not judgmental and not patriarchal and not steeped in whiteness. As we continue to rest, let us build our own supermarkets and communities. As we continue to rest, let us plan to buy houses in the same community so it becomes a Black community, so that the taxes will go to our schools where our children go, so that we can build supermarkets in our own communities and farmers markets. We can do those things when we rest. When we rest, we can come together and have the hard conversation. When we rest, we can have the hard conversation about colorism. When we rest, we can see and honor those who are down for the struggle and are with us and journeying with us. But we can also see those that don't really want to rock with us. So don't rock with us. Move it on, because we're going to make this happen and do what we need to do and not wait for somebody else to right the wrongs. So there's healing on both sides. And for me, as a Black woman, a part of the Black diaspora, we are going to do some healing, some serious healing through rest, so that we can be restored and we can build community, one moment, one movement, one conversation, one broadcast at a time. It's impossible until it's not. So let's make it happen. Let's make it possible. I love y'all. I love y'all to the moon and beyond. Be well, rest, drink water. Take care of you, beloveds. And thank you for joining Tuesdays with Tawana. I'm Reverend T. I'm out. By the way, jewelry. Got this Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, I did tag, and I don't have the name in front of me, but I'll put it in the comments. Today is a very weird day for me. Vertigo is no joke. So, but she has beautiful jewelry pieces. So please support Black businesses. Mother Carolyn also has a dear daughter, Lorimer Taylor, who's my sister, who sells jewelry as well. Allison, I love you. Keep healing, my beloved. When we rest, we heal ourselves. That's right, Tina. I love you to life, sister. And I love all of you to life and beyond. I'm out. Blessings.